Christine Benero is committed to strengthening childhood literacy across Colorado. As president and CEO of Mile High United Way, she works to advance the common good of the community by investing and focusing on the issues of school readiness, youth success, and adult self-sufficiency. Through her leadership, groups across the state are coming together to ensure all children are on a path to be successful readers by 3rd grade. Please welcome Christine Benero.
Good morning, and Gordon, many thanks for your kind invitation to join you all today as you celebrate an extraordinary community, especially during a week where we have seen the very best of what it means to be a community united. All of us are sending our prayers and best wishes to the families who have been impacted by the fire. And we, too, are so very grateful to the firefighters and the hundreds of volunteers who are responding. I would like to take a personal point of privilege, however, and in particular, recognize two people who have been very important to me in my life and in my past career. Joining us today is Charlie Szymanski of the National American Red Cross and Erin Mounsey, right here, a part of all of you of the Centennial Red Cross, who are just doing amazing work. Erin, Charlie, thank you for everything that you are doing. If you had a chance to read the introduction of me in that program, which after reading it this afternoon, I believe my mother actually wrote, you would see that I have had the honor of serving as the CEO of the American Red Cross Mile High chapter prior to joining the United Way movement. I served in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina and was here in the state last time that the wildfires ravaged our beautiful state. But one of the things that always sustained me was something that Clara Barton, the founder of the American Red Cross, once said. She said, "I have a complete disregard of precedent and a faith in the possibility of something better." It takes courageous leadership to have a complete disregard of precedent and a faith in the possibility of something better, and yet I believe it is exactly what we do as Coloradans and what exactly you all are doing here in Larimer County. This sounds like the beginning, and many of my colleagues in the room have heard this, but the beginning of a very bad joke. But 125 years ago, 2 ministers, 2 priests, a rabbi, and a woman believed in the possibility of something better and founded the very first United Way right here in Colorado. It was then known as the Charity Society Association and has since grown into a worldwide movement with the single purpose of a faith in the possibility of something better for every child, every family, and every individual. I am not at all surprised that the United Way movement began here in Colorado. I think it's who we are as Coloradans. If you look back 125 years ago, we were at the beginning, Colorado itself was at the very beginning of the silver bust. Many people were thriving and prosperous, but others were suffering greatly. People were losing their homes, their jobs, our children were struggling to be educated, and tuberculosis was rampant. Sound a bit familiar? Minus, thank goodness, the rampant tuberculosis? Enter a group of extraordinary community leaders who believed together they could make a difference. They would rally business leaders, communities of faith, neighbors, and everyday people as volunteers to face head-on what was happening right before their eyes in order to create better opportunities for everyone. They were unafraid to reach out. I am very proudly a Colorado girl. I love our state. I grew up with everything that a child should have: a safe place to live, food on the table, parents and grandparents and other adults who loved me and inspired me, and most of all, I had an education that allowed me to be anything that I wanted to be. My reality as a little girl growing up in Colorado is not the reality today for so many of our children. We really do live in a magical state, yet there are so many paradoxes. Colorado has the fastest growing rate of child poverty in the country. We have one of the most highly educated workforces in the country, yet one of the lowest graduation rates. Statewide, only 74% of our kids are graduating from high school, meaning that 26% of our kids statewide are not. And you wind that back even further, and we know that 26% of our children are not reading at grade level by third grade. 26%, 26%. I don't believe those numbers are coincidental. And if you are a child of color or a child living in poverty, those numbers soar. But I do believe there is absolutely something we can do about it. So last fall, something very special happened, led by a truly, truly amazing Lieutenant Governor. And I have to pause here for a moment because I know many of you were expecting to see Joe Garcia today and you got me instead. So I apologize for that. But I am very proud to be here representing him today. But literally led by a truly inspiring Lieutenant Governor, Joe Garcia got on a bus and invited parents and educators and business people and community volunteers to travel over 1,000 miles in Colorado to listen and to learn about the issues of early childhood literacy. Well, here, let's show you what happened, if we may.
Colorado's Lieutenant Governor has started a statewide listening tour.
Governor John Hickenlooper and Colorado's First Lady Helen Thorpe support this cause, of course.
Joe Garcia boarded what is being called the literacy bus before sunup this morning.
They're going to go all around the state, and they're trying to rally everybody they can to the cause.
It is Monday morning at about 5:45. So this morning we are going around the state on a statewide literacy bus tour.
We know that third grade reading matters, that's one of the key indicators of whether or not a child is going to graduate from high school.
Excited, pleased that we got so much community interest and support.
So this tour is about going around learning from Colorado because we know there are great programs across the state and we want to learn about more of them. The foundation community is here, the business community is here, nonprofits, our partners are here, all of us are here.
It's going to be a great week.
I hope what the guests get out of the tour is that they too really can make a difference, that this is one of the most important things that's happening in Colorado.
All the way back to your left.
We're not here to tell you what we think you ought to be doing or what we're doing in Denver. We are here to learn. We're out to talk about that 30% roughly of kids in Colorado who leave third grade not reading at grade level. Because we know that same 30% or more who are likely to drop out, to not go on to college and not complete college successfully.
We know that there's a 30 million word gap, the research has shown us, of low-income children compared to their middle-income peers when they enter school. 30 million words. We can all do something about that by reading to our children, talking to our children, singing to our children, and we want to learn the best of the best of what's happening in Colorado.
We definitely have this group of families that are so involved and really have time and the energy to put into their kids. And then we have this other whole section of our population that really struggles.
On behalf of Steamboat Springs, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Eyes wide open, covers drawn. What if Mama Llama's gone? I was really pleased to see how much people wanted to contribute to the conversation. I mean, they really wanted to give us their ideas about what works here and what the challenges are here. So that was very helpful. We're in Steamboat Springs, headed next to Craig, and at the end of the day, we'll be in Grand Junction.
So how'd it go? How was the first stop?
So I was just asking the Lieutenant Governor if he was pleased because I thought it was really phenomenal the engagement of the people, and what did you say?
People jumped in quickly. They had a lot to say about a wide variety of topics and approaches, and I thought it was very, very helpful.
Welcome to Martinez Elementary.
Colorado was only one of 5 states, and the United Way only one of 5 organizations across the country that received $3.6 million in innovation funding from the Corporation for National and Community Service that is going to be available to support early literacy programs across the state.
I'm very excited about the fact that, number one, that you're here and that you're here to listen.
We have to help the parents because they don't have the knowledge of proper child development sometimes. They don't have the supports that they need. They're worrying about, how do I keep a roof over the head of this family and how do I get food on the table?
We have so many ideas at the library, so many things that just, if only we had the funding behind it. And I'm sure a lot of those other organizations feel the same way.
It was just a great week. I was on the bus all week and saw all of Colorado and heard about some great programs for kids, so it was great.
The key is awareness and commitment, along with, I would say, collaboration and creativity. As long as we have people aware that this is an issue and create a sense of urgency that we need to address this issue, and then they do it collaboratively and creatively, and they're committed to seeing it through to the end, that's the key.
I think the key moving forward is that we're going to have to engage all of the community. The side of the bus says literacy matters, and what this state says is, yes, it does, and we're going to do something about it.
It was really, as you can see, an extraordinary journey that so many of us were privileged to travel across the state and to listen and to learn and to hear what is happening and really begin to coalesce together. And the result has been the Colorado Early Literacy Initiative. It is not a new idea. It builds on the efforts that have been underway in Colorado for more than a decade. What it does do is to reinforce and renew a commitment by business leaders, the foundation community, the public sector, and each of us who love this state to bring greater attention to the issues of literacy, the issues of illiteracy, especially with our youngest children. And what you'll hear later, what this is really about, is it is about school readiness. We learned on this journey that we cannot ignore this issue. The consequences are clear. The consequences can be seen in our prisons. We see it in our homeless shelters. We see it in our unemployment lines, and we know for our state that the status quo is unacceptable. We learned that a goal of having every child, as Gordon said, in Colorado, reading at grade level by the end of 4th grade transcends party affiliation, ideology, and geography. We learned startling facts along the way, that a child in poverty hears 30 million less words than their middle-income peers by the time they enter kindergarten. That's about school readiness. We learned that there are phenomenal programs across Colorado moving the needle on this issue. We learned that literacy begins at birth, not at kindergarten. It is about school readiness. We learned we cannot do this without parents and grandparents and families and early childhood educators, without business leaders, librarians, teachers, policymakers, and volunteers, and without every single one of us in this room. This is why I'm also so very excited in a few minutes to hear Dr. Youngblade's presentation on school readiness. Colorado Reads, the Early Literacy Initiative that looks like this and is available online as well, was released this spring. It's a blueprint for Colorado in which we all play a part. I would also like to recognize at this moment a colleague of ours from the Lieutenant Governor's Office, the Executive Director of Serve Colorado, which is the organization that oversees the AmeriCorps members here in Colorado. My friend and colleague from the Lieutenant Governor's Office, Lindsay Dolce, is here in the room as well. So Lindsay, thank you for being here. What this is it's a blueprint for Colorado in which we all play a part. From business leaders who understand that early childhood education is the key to the economic vitality of our state, to the woman, and this was one of my very favorite stories, who approached the Lieutenant Governor. We were just outside of Durango, and we had pulled over to stop to get a little break and have a cup of coffee. And as you saw in the video, on the side of the bus was the sign, Literacy Matters. And she saw that. I'm pretty sure she did not know that who Joe Garcia was, or that he was lieutenant governor, but she came right up to him, and she wanted to know how she could get on the bus, because she was a grandmother, and what she said to him was so critically important. She said, "I don't know how to teach reading, and I know that's important, but I know how to read to a child. I know how to give them a love of language, and could she please too get on the bus and join us?" And that is what this is all about. I actually believe we're at a crossroads in Colorado, as we were 125 years ago, as Larimer County was 50 years ago when the Larimer County United Way began. We all together have an opportunity to change the future. We have the chance to unite around an issue that the evidence shows can be the single most important investment that we can make. We have the ability to begin a movement, and as Clara Barton said, have faith in the possibility of something better. To do that, it's going to take all of us, and it's going to take some courageous leadership. And I know that we have that leadership here in Colorado, from a truly, truly extraordinary lieutenant governor and governor to Gordon Thibodeau and the United Way of Larimer County, for whom I have the utmost respect, to the volunteers that you all are honoring today, and to each of us in this room who love our state, love our community, and believe that every child, no matter where they live in Colorado, deserves an opportunity for a brilliant life. It is an honor to be in your company today. I thank you for allowing me to join you, and I congratulate you on all that you do. Thank you.